first time in a long time, but it seems like just yesterday when we were side by side. Beast mode, no one's blocking our way. These other guys tried it, but them man ain't got the skills of Braden and Davie, brazen and raging, bringing you the thrills and spills. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady, DVP, the BDElite. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady, DVP, the BDElite.
Hello.
Hello, hello, hello.
Braden Herrington here with Davie Portman. We are here for BDElite. We are live on Twitch.
Yes, twitch.tv/upnext podcast. Hello, Twitch stream. Happy Monday.
Wow, happy Monday. Yeah, we were doing this at a different time than usual. Obviously, we cover NXT. We're Up Next. We're your NXT friends. We go live on Tuesday nights on Twitch, record Up Next. We do the same thing on Wednesdays. We watch Dynamite, and then we talk about it here on BDElite, and then we put this up on the free podcast feed. So we're always hanging out on Twitch afterwards on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. And then Revolution was a pay-per-view last night, and well, me and Davie, we wanted to go out and enjoy being free, I guess, after months and months and months of watch-alongs on Twitch. We decided, hey, we want to just try to go out and have fun and watch it. So we didn't go to the event, either of us, but we had different events.
Yes, yeah. I went to the Hooked on Wrestling event in Old Street in London, which was great. They sorted me out with a seat with a plug so I could take all these notes while watching the show. So shout out those guys. Thank you very much. But that wasn't the real main event, was it, Braden?
No, I mean, yeah. So you went back to the UK for a little bit. So I've been lonely. I didn't want to watch wrestling by myself. I had a little bit of a Rumble party at the crib for that, and then I was kind of sparked an idea to see maybe there is some people in the city that want to watch wrestling together at a bar. So I kind of orchestrated just having people and hang out and just watch wrestling. And man, I was like almost overwhelmed with just how many people showed up and stuff like that. So it was a crazy fun time just to get people in the room of all sorts. There was post wrestling listeners, Up Next listeners. There was people who didn't even know what we were, but they wanted to come and watch wrestling, and just made new friends along the way. And that's what's important, right? So yeah, just had a great time. So shout out anyone who showed up and supported. We're definitely looking to try to get some Dynamite watch-alongs going in the near future. I feel like there's just a good atmosphere. I feel like AEW brings in just a different crowd of wrestling fans. There's a lot of people who are like new to wrestling or new to wrestling again because of this product. And it showed last night. Like I talked to maybe like 70 new people who are wrestling fans that are like giving me their views. And it's like, yeah, they're like, I gave up a while ago, but this kind of drew me back in.
Is that how many showed up? About 70?
Yeah, probably more than that, actually. Probably there was a lot of people watching some wrestling, so it was pretty sweet. So yeah, look out for all our next ones, and especially when you come back and we can do some more different watch things. And I just want to hang out and watch wrestling with friends.
Yeah, it's frustrating because we had something lined up for the Rumble, and then lockdowns occurred and everything, so I came back here. But it's great that finally we're kicking these off and getting to do, and hopefully that's first of many, many more to come.
Yeah, especially if we go to another AEW event, like I would have loved to obviously go to a pay-per-view like this last night, but if we do go to another event in the near future, I'm thinking like a Grand Slam or whatever, we definitely got to arrange a tailgate before these things at like a bar or something, because it would just be sweet. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stupid shit going on in the world right now, and that, I mean, just there's a lot of bad stuff going on, and wrestling for me has definitely always been an escape, and just to be able to just get a bunch of people to just check out for a little bit, and the only thing we're arguing over is who we think's going to win the matches or stuff like that. So it's just it was good to do that and stuff like that. So yeah, thanks for people for checking it out. As always, good. The shout out George from Sneaky D's. We got an in at Sneaks now, bro. We're in. But apparently the Sneaks people told me that all of the employees love the Northern Blue nachos. So I think I gotta give those.
Is that a new
pulled pork one. It's the pulled pork one.
All right.
Yeah. So a lot of people ordered food. We're gonna be doing, I think, WrestleMania at Sneaks. So that will be a lot of fun as well. But follow the Up Next group and the Up Next on Twitter and all that stuff for any details if you are in the GTA or Toronto area. So yeah, we had a raffle. This guy basically, a bunch of people were buying raffles, and this guy's like, yo, I'm buying, like, how much do you have left of them? I want them all. And I was like, I don't know if we can do that. And he's like, no, I'm buying them. And then his different people in his party were buying all the raffles. So basically this guy walked away with every prize we had, including an AEW replica world heavyweight title. Shout out my boy Tom, who helped put this all together. And as a true promoter, Davie, I put my girlfriend to work. She was the front desk, the booker, essentially. She was working the bookies there, and it was a fun time all around, and everybody, I hope, had a good time. But yeah, I will say that I also got myself an AEW replica that's in the mail.
Amazing.
With some
and how are you feeling today? Did you control yourself? Were you on the sauce, or were you being like you were trying to host? Like, how were you?
Yeah, a few people wanted to buy me beers, and I accepted once in a while. And then I had a few beers, but then to celebrate, me and Tom snuck out during while we could, and did a bunch, just did some dabs. And that definitely, that's like, how do you describe that to someone who doesn't know even what that is? Like the next level of smoking?
High intensity THC, right? Like,
yeah, for a few hours, you'll be really good. So I did a few of those to celebrate, because it was just busy. But yeah, it was cool, and it was fun to like work and watch and just have a good time. But yeah, I was on a nice wave. I wasn't irresponsible whatsoever. I was on a nice wave to still talk to people coherently. At least I am here today. I woke up and I wanted to rewatch some of the matches before talking about it, just to kind of have it fresh in my head. And I woke up and I felt so happy and chipper. And then I feel like literally as I'm as it's hitting me now, like this coffee isn't hitting me, and I'm just feeling a bit tired. So
yeah, that was, I'm feeling way better than I have any right to. Saturday night was one of my friend's 30th, and we got tickets for this boat. So we went on this boat where they had a bar and was going along the Thames and everything. And there was our group, which was a mix of guys and girls, but there's about like maybe 8 of us guys, and then 3 hen parties on this boat, like bachelorette parties. So it's just
they call them hen parties.
It's hens and stags, yeah. So it's so it was like us 8 guys. Majority of them are like with partners, and there's like 2 of us who are single, with just like 3 parties of terrifying horny women on this boat on the Thames. It was a fun time. And then we went to a bit of a theatre hangout, which I haven't been to for years, called Players Bar, which is like an underground piano bar, and you like tip anyone can hop on the piano and have a little go and just play whatever. So had a good time there. But we were promised this buffet on the boat, and we devour
a buffet on a boat.
Yeah, we devour a whole lot of food, you and I, when we're drinking, and I think it helps us. Sometimes we get like a bit of tummy problems the next day, but in general the hangover is pretty good. This buffet consisted of bread, a potato, a salad, and some dry chicken drumsticks. So it was like, fuck. Ugh. So barely ate and drank a lot. So yesterday was struggling, and I worked a job at Wembley Arena, which I think like loads of wrestlings happened there. Takeover London was at Wembley Arena. And I worked this event, kind of checking people in, and my job description was Energizer, when I felt like so hungover, but I meant to be like, hey, how are we doing, guys? Where are we going? Let me help you to your seats, that kind of thing. And it was this Brazilian pop act called Gustavo Lima, I think his name is. So it was just basically the entire Brazilian population of London was coming to this arena for a party, and boy did they want to party. So lots of nice Thai Contis there, and got to walk around, like popped into the arena, watched a bit of a show. It was pretty cool, but was absolutely exhausted, and then went to meet up with WASN Anne-Marie, listener of the show.
Oh, wonderful!
Who came down to London to watch Revolution at this bar. So had a few drinks, and I think she had a hen party the night before as well, so she was exhausted. But after,
what the a hen part? This sounds lit. That sounds like all the rage.
But
over there.
After a couple of bottles of wine, it was. I think we both woke up a bit, and so the show started for us at 1 a.m., finished at 5 a.m. I got home. I decided to walk to get the first train. First train's around like 6. So got home about like 7:30 this morning.
Oh my God.
So it was about 4, gone 4 a.m. And I was like, are we doing another bottle of wine? And she's like, oh, I'm not drinking anymore. So I just got myself another bottle of wine because it was just the best deal. Like all the drinks there were really expensive, but you could get a bottle of wine for like 20 quid. So I've just escaped today. Somehow I'm feeling fresh. I'm excited to talk about this pay-per-view. But had a great time.
Had a hen party.
Hen party.
No, that sounds all right. Yeah, so we just had some fun weekends, and as it should be. I mean, the world's opening up and people want to go out and stuff. But
we had listeners go to the event yesterday. We had listeners in cinemas watching the event yesterday. It felt like this big kind of event all over. Not so much staying at home. It was pretty fun. Like chatting to everyone and seeing what everyone's getting up to last night.
And people traveling. I mean, Orlando, like, hey, you can go there. People like to go there for wrestling because then you can go to like the beaches in Florida or theme parks and stuff as well. So yeah, just a fun thing to see people. I saw some people I know obviously in some of our chats, like Sino and Frank and stuff went to the theater to watch it. But I saw some people saying that they had issues where the feed was cutting out.
I think some of the AMC theaters,
man, that would piss me off for sure. But
I guess
actually a lot of people at the bar last night were like, hey, it's either this or going to the theater. And like, I don't want to go to the theater. I want to get drunk and go for smokes and talk to people. And while we're like, and I'm like, yeah, like there's such a better environment. Not that I used to do the theater quite a lot, especially when I was a teenager. And
are they even doing that though in Toronto? I've not noticed it for anything.
I would assume so, because we do have landmarks which are like a little bit out of the city. So I do think that they do. Those are the ones with like you go in, there's like Lazy Boys and stuff like that. But I mean, that I guess it's because the pay-per-view ran late and WWE always goes to like 11.
Did it though? So, like I feel we all knew like these shows normally go 4 hours. Yeah. I knew I was going to be at this bar till like 5 a.m. I didn't expect it. And when you saw the card of 10 matches on the main show, I think something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not really surprised. I mean, would they do that with like a UFC event or boxing when that goes long? I don't know. Seems a bit weird.
Yeah. But I hope everyone had a fun time. Even if you did watch it at home, hey, well, I'm sure you still had a good time. And maybe you're watching us right now on Twitch, or you're listening to us as a podcast, and we thank you for listening and checking us out, because it was a lot of fun. And it was a long show, but it was a pretty damn good show.
Well, shall we get into it?
Yeah, 100%. Let's do it.
Did you? I won't spend too much time on it, but did you catch any of the buy-in last night?
So right before the buy-in, I was setting up. We had like a projector and then another TV as well. So I did set up everything, and then just in time for the buy-in. So I did recall more. So I got to watch the Kings of the Black Throne, the Knights Who Say Knee Men.
Yeah.
And that I did see some of that match, and I thought there was some pretty cool stuff in it. I love Penta and stuff, but I didn't really get to see some of the other stuff. I was just busy. I was talking to people. I think everyone really showed up. I think
throughout the whole night, there were some really kind of quite scary moments. I thought Hirsch and Statlander, as like down on this feud as I've been, it just has all felt a bit silly. But I thought the match was pretty good. There was this really brutal Hurricane Rana from Hirsch to Statlander on the floor. So many floor bumps tonight, like ringside bumps. And then Hirsch ended up using the turnbuckle against Statlander to pick up the win. And afterwards, Red Velvet was checking on her and everything. So that feud possibly continuing. But, I think we're getting Thunder Rosa and Hirsch next week to kind of set up the challenger for St. Patrick's Day. So
it's just funny that Statlander kind of now became the heel since like hey, hey, you're the reason your parents split up or they don't love you or whatever. It's like clearly she's the bad guy, but yeah.
Don Callis then came out to Kenny's music and really riled up the crowd because everyone.
The bar was like mid conversation, and then the music hit, and everybody kind of looked at each other like, "Wait a second." Even I had to be like, "Wait, is this?" Because right before I was playing music in the bar, so I was playing AEW themes, and I'm like, "Wait, I didn't remember putting Kenny's theme on?" And then I look over, and I was like, "Wait, what?" So it was a good pop for the crowd, even in the crowd on TV.
It felt like just a little maybe starting to grow a few seeds for Cole and Kenny, because he was saying like, oh, Cole's going to be a great transitional champ and all these like backhanded compliments like that. So with Don Callis coming back, I think maybe it's maybe Omega's coming soon to start up something. We then had Hook versus QT Marshall. Hook's longest match to date, clocking in just over 4 minutes. Loads of just really beautiful looking suplexes. He gets a nice Alicia Fox-esque bridge on his suplexes.
Not quite Alicia Fox.
Not quite.
He's on his way.
But esque.
Yeah. No, he looks sick.
He's getting there. I quite enjoyed the finish. It was, when you're running towards the turnbuckle and you kind of do the like spring off of it to go over the guy's head and come behind. But Hook just stood there, so QT did the little spring, and then he caught him in the Taz mission, the Red Rum, to pick up the win.
I did. Now that I'm remembering, I did watch this match, and I thought it was pretty good. I love Hook. I like Hook. He's
great.
I think it's like now where you go with him from here. Do we just continue this run of squashes still, or does he get an actual program?
I would think keep on doing this and maybe little programs against your QTs or something like that until you're ready for the right TNT champion to go against, I would say.
Was there any QTs on that hen party boat?
There are a couple.
Few Marshalls.
Honestly, like
few QTs.
Hen parties kind of terrify me.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, it's scary women a lot of the time at these things, but there are a few Marshalls for sure.
Few Marshalls. That's the new language now.
And well, then we had the spooky tattoo men, the House of Black, who actually I've been kind of down on these guys, but their entrance with all of them having like the the Nordic like horns and stuff, I thought they looked complete now. Looked way better than just Malachi and Brody. I think it looked pretty cool, their entrance coming out there.
I will say this weekend, like getting hyped and everything. I was listening to some AEW themes like all Sunday during the day, just like while I was like getting ready in the shower. And I will say, I know we make fun of the song from out. But dude, like put that song on, like that. I went for a walk and that song hit. I was like walking around. I was going. Hopefully, strangers were looking at me like, "What's this guy doing?" But it gets you hyped. This song is such a good entrance music song, and these guys look the part. I know. Like I was saying, like right now it's kind of weird. I think the weird thing is just Alex Abrahantes in the Bill and Ted's. Yeah, the like Dollar weird like. Costume. Like Death from Family Guy look or something. I don't know what's going on with him there, but I still think the House of Black, like give it time. We will all be talking about how awesome they are in a little bit, but right now they got to get over some humps. Yeah.
I thought Penta and Buddy had a really nice exchange early on. You then had Redbeard who came in, who was actually really over with this crowd. And I thought the big man stuff between him and Brody was actually quite fun. They were doing a lot of just shoulder tackles, trying to knock each other down. There was an awesome looking Casadora into a Canadian Destroyer from Penta, which was great. Eric then hit a Senton Atomico. Shout out Eddie Guerrero, or I'd like to now nickname him Reddy Guerrero Beard, maybe. Yeah, never seen him do this before. And then he hit this like power slam lift into a cutter to Black, which I thought looked pretty cool as well.
Yeah, what did this guy just all of a sudden get better at wrestling?
He was amped. Yeah, I don't know what he's been doing this like since being released, but he showed up to work last night.
Last Wednesday when he showed up to like he hit like choke slams and stuff, I was like, oh, he looks good. But of course, you know, the people you're hitting moves on make you look good too. But like, no, this guy looked incredible, considering I was not a pretty big fan of him in WWE. And I know we do a show called What's Next, and we've just covered like his whole NXT run, and there's not a whole lot from him in that. But I thought this was the most I've ever seen him do.
I thought he looked really good. I mean, this match was like kind of PWG style, everyone just getting their shit in. Pac's hitting a Poison Rana. Brody comes in and just starts clubbing Pac from behind. You've then got Red Beer and Brody going at it again. There's a package pile driver from Penta to Black on the apron, which looked nuts. And then Penta goes for the pin, but Black isn't actually the legal man. And Buddy Matthews comes in behind with his like wicked stepsister stomp to the back. You then get the Black Mass to Redbeard, but Eric is just staying up, not going down. Goes for the choke slam to Black, but gets misted in the face. And then Brody hits like the Rikishi driver, like the sit out pile driver for the win. But I thought this was really good. It felt random, especially with Eric Rowan coming in on Rampage last week, but you know what? I thought he really impressed, and I just thought this was a really, really fun match on the pre-show.
Yeah, no, it was like fun, but at the same time, it had the serious tones with trying to get over this, like I said, this kind of flop of the past few weeks of them just not really impressing. They needed to have a match, and I felt like they gave them time for like I know this is a buy-in, but this went like over 15 minutes, something like that. So
if anything, like, and this is a stupid criticism to have, but it was like when you knew you were in for a long night, this on a pre-show, like I already kind of felt like, whew, the show's not even started, and wow, okay, like definitely, like you could have put this on the main show or on any pay-per-view for sure. Yeah. Like this, they over-delivered here 100%.
Yeah. I love Black, I love King, and I love Matthews. This whole group of them together. I'm excited to where we can go with it. And I know Death Triangle is kind of weird. I was assuming Pac was going to join them as well, but I think just sticking with the three people is probably the best. Oh wait, well the three people and Julia Hart, who's got to still join them. But you know, they're gonna be one of the big acts, I feel like, going through AEW, and Malachi can eventually step up to be like a main event player, especially with his boys behind him. But Brody King, man, is awesome as well, because he's still kind of someone I haven't watched too much of, but now that I get to, with him being a featured wrestler here, I'm like, yo, this guy is sick. And like, yeah, you know, I'm a hip hop head, but these like scary black metal dudes, they're sweet. I listen to their music now, and I'm getting amped whenever I'm like, it's sick. It's working for me.
I really think this company's begging for a trios title now. Like maybe
100%
get the Owen tournament out the way, and then a big summer tournament with these trios, because you've got, you know, the former Undisputed Era of Cole Fish O'Reilly. You've got the Bucks and Kenny potentially. You've got like Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, Christian. You've got the House of Black. You've got Best Friends. You've got all these trios that you could absolutely have a pretty stacked tournament and give something for some guys to do when they're not, like even Kingston with Santana and Ortiz perhaps down the line. Like there's so many combinations you can do. Well,
for sure. Speaking
of Kingston, we kick off the main show with Eddie Kingston versus Jericho. I think Judas is a great way to kind of start the show, and this made sense in the opening spot here. But Just like, remember the Punk match? As soon as it started, Kingston just hit the Hurricane. It was similar here. He just dumped Jericho on his fucking head right away with a half and half. And you go, oh, is this going to just be like this squash?
Squash.
But, yeah, like Jericho just took this head bump and Kingston goes to like attack him more and Aubrey's like backing him up, being like, whoa, let's check out here. Jericho starts to roll to the outside. But Eddie just comes after him. He's hitting this neck breaker, chops and jabs. Jericho comes back with these punches to the head of Kingston and then just flips off the crowd. Kingston hits the Gamangiri, but Jericho gets right back up on his feet. Now there's this chop exchange from both of them and Kingston pulls down the straps. At some point here, Eddie gets poked in the eyes. So Eddie comes back and pokes Jericho in the eyes. And you actually see Eddie's, I think it was his left eye, I think, was like all kind of swollen and red. And Jericho kept on attacking that with like eye gouges. And so it gets pretty nasty. Eddie's now biting Jericho. Sorry, I thought you were going to say something.
Yeah, no, like getting the finger in the eye and like then it starts to like get all nasty. It's like, was his finger dirty? Like imagine just poking someone with a dirty finger. Like that's how you get pink eye or something. Like that's a real dirty tactic.
Yeah.
Gross.
Jericho then hits a vertical suplex off the apron to the floor. Again, I said this earlier, so many floor bumps on this show. And then a German suplex to Jericho, just dumping him on his head. And then lion salt for a 2 count. Jericho applies the walls, but Eddie manages to get to the ropes. And now Jericho's getting into Aubrey's face and he shoves her, so she shoves him back. And then Eddie comes in with these 2 Saito suplexes, followed by the Hurricane, the spinning back fist. But Jericho kicks out. And Eddie doesn't know what he can do. Aubrey is now consoling him. And then out of nowhere, Jericho hits the code breaker, but Eddie kicks out. Eddie then eats a German suplex, but gets right back to his feet and runs into another code breaker. But Jericho doesn't want to end it there. He sets up for the Judas effect, goes for the spinning back elbow. Eddie ducks and hits Jericho with 2 Hurricanes and then applies Kawada's stretch plum. He wrenches once, he wrenches twice, and then wrenches the arm a 3rd time, and Jericho taps. Eddie wins the big one.
Yeah, he did it. What Jericho said he couldn't do, and Eddie Kingston did it. Yeah, the submission was a nice touch as well. It's like a defining victory. Like Jericho tapping out. Like that's pretty big. But I thought both these guys just went at an incredible pace, considering Jericho. People were making fun of how he looked like last year or this year even, and now look at him just coming back with this thing. I personally never had an issue with him looking a certain way. But now that he's gotten back into some great shape, it shows in the ring. Like he was going at it at a pretty good speed and hitting all his moves, and I just thought I thought we would be going into this match being like Eddie Kingston continues to step up every time, but it's like, nah, Eddie's always bringing it since being in AEW. But it was Jericho, I thought, that kind of, just brought it today. Definitely felt like an old school Jericho hitting German suplexes. He had to, if you're fighting someone like Eddie, who's like you said, doing all these old school like backdrop suit drivers.
It felt like King's Road style, didn't it? They're just dumping each other on each other's head. They're like, all Japan 90s, let's do it.
Yeah, so yeah, not knocking Eddie Kingston at all, because man, he's just been continuing to be awesome here. I want like a TNT title run. I want a world title run one day for Eddie Kingston. Just he brings it. But the story was good, and I guess just more blown away with Chris Jericho. But I like the submission going forward, but we didn't get the heel turn that we kind of thought we would.
We kind of did. Eddie put his hand out at the end, because that was kind of the Jericho kept on saying, if you beat me, I'll shake your hand. And he did a nice little like royal like putting out his hand, and Jericho was nah and walks out. So being a bit of a sore loser there. So I think it's gonna maybe continue or definitely solidify Jericho's heel turn. I liked as well the little touch of Eddie asking Aubrey at the end, did I win? Did I do it? Did I win? But yeah, this match didn't let up at all. There was no like dead space. I think this might be Jericho's best singles match in AEW.
It's got to be up there. I liked Kenny Omega Jericho too. That was what, Double or Nothing. That one was good. So. You know what? I liked this one. I liked the one with MJF, or there was a tag match with MJF actually. Now that I think about it, but yeah, that's probably a good shout. I thought he looked great, and Eddie Kingston definitely awesome. brought it out of him. And like I thought going in, Jericho was going to bring the sports entertainer out of Eddie Kingston, whereas no, they just went, no, this is a pay-per-view, we're going to do wrestling. And I feel like it was kind of a quick match, maybe like what
I think it was around over 15-ish, I think.
Yeah, something like that. And it went, and I was kind of shocked at how much I enjoyed this match. And that sounds terrible, but no, these guys delivered on a card that every match pretty much delivered, and it was one of them that I think over delivered.
I agree. Well, we go to our next match. It was the triple threat AEW Tag Team Championship match. The rules of this are only 2 people in the ring at the same time, and you can kind of tag anyone. It's the Young Bucks versus reDRagon versus the champions Jurassic Express. There's a lot of Jungle Boy in this match, and it starts off the Bucks and reDRagon are kind of going to work together and isolate Jungle Boy here. He goes for his top rope arm drag to Kyle, but Kyle catches it into an arm bar, which I thought looked really nice. And then Matt tries to pin Jungle Boy, and Kyle breaks it up. And he's kind of making out, no, that wasn't part of the plan. And then Kyle goes for a cover, and Nick breaks it up. So they're all starting to break down. And Jungle Boy is just fighting off everyone here. He leaps to tag in Luchasaurus, but Bobby pulls him off the apron. And now Kyle and Matt are getting into each other's face, and they start going at it. Luchasaurus finally gets tagged in and is hitting tail whips all round. Tail whip to Nick, roundhouse to Matt, and then hits a moonsault off the apron to the floor. Followed by, there's then a destroyer to Luchasaurus. He's hitting choke slams all round. And then a springboard doomsday device to Matt, which I thought looked awesome.
Like, what? Like, you knew we were going to get some crazy stuff, but yeah, I mean, someone hit a destroyer, and then this crazy doomsday was pretty nuts.
Then finally, Matt decides to super kick Bobby, and he kind of just shrugs and is like, screw the plan. Kyle tags in, and finally he's fighting with the Bucks, and Bobby and Nick pull them apart, but they start fighting, and then Kyle, O'Reilly, Nick Jackson, and Jungle Boy just have this great sequence where they're all catching each other's kicks. Kyle gets sent into the ropes and goes for the lunatic lariat off the second, but he gets knocked back and then goes for the lunatic lariat off the bottom rope, and all 3 clothesline each other, falling down. Great spot, and this is where the crowd were really picking up. There's then an avalanche exploder suplex from Bobby, followed by a diving knee into the knee bar from Kyle, which just looked awesome. And then Kyle's locked in a guillotine to, was this to Luchasaurus, I think? And
yes,
Jungle Boy breaks it up with a 450 splash, which was just insane.
Jungle Boy breaks it up with a shooting star, which they call the Dino Star. The shooting Dino Star press, which I'm like, wow, how have I never realized they called it that? But then he hits that to break it up, but then someone else is laid out, so then that's when someone else breaks up the pin with the 450, in the same.
Matt hits the 450 after, right after, just nuts. There's then a total elimination to Jungle Boy from reDRagon, but the Luchasaurus breaks up the pin. Then we get a super kick tombstone combo from Kyle O'Reilly and the Bucks, but as soon as it's hit, the Bucks super kick Kyle, hit the BTE trigger to Jungle Boy, and Kyle just manages to break up the pin. Now, the Bucks are going into their old tricks and go for more bang for your buck, but it gets countered into a Rana, into a German from Jungle Boy. This was nuts. So he hit the Rana to Nick, and then immediately into a German suplex to Matt. Really crazy. Impressive. And then you've got the flipping chokeslam bomb for Jurassic Express. I'm not sure what they call this, but it's their finish. And
they call it the Jurassic Express.
Jurassic Express. easy.
Yeah.
And they get the pin, and I think is it Nick just misses breaking the pin up.
Yeah, Matt takes the fall. Yeah,
but crazy match.
I mean, as we expected, this was nuts. I mean, the I loved the Bucks and reDRagon, their kind of history throughout wrestling, but even before AEW, I was just excited to see them be able to kind of tie it up and wrestle each other again. But then adding in Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus, like they kind of needed to solidify this run. And I think with this match and getting this win, kind of did that, kind of legitimized them as a legit tag team. I know they're the champs, but now definitely like getting this win over the two teams is amazing. We can probably spiral off into the Bucks and reDRagon feuding with Cole's got to pick a side. I imagine Cole sides with his Era boys and Kenny comes back. Maybe we get more trios matches or something, but this match was crazy. I mean, Luchasaurus always gets in some crazy spots that always wake up the crowd, and just, yeah, Jungle Boy brought it as well.
I thought Jungle Boy really impressed in this one. And
honestly,
Kyle
like
as well.
Jungle was awesome. Kyle is someone I'm like, I love Bobby Fish talking shit throughout the whole match, by the way. I missed that. I love reDRagon, just crazy. But I can't wait for that Kyle Danielson match down the line, because I definitely still think Kyle didn't get that NXT title run that we thought in NXT. He was just getting singles matches again and was delivering. And I feel like we will get to that level. But as of right now, like this was crazy. All three teams are just on fire. And I'm happy that Jurassic Express beat both of them.
Yeah, I wonder where it goes from here, because I kind of thought they've maybe done everything there is to do with their reign, and I was expecting maybe a reDRagon win here. But perhaps the Mox Danielson thing that we'll get to later will be the guy.
Yeah, it's true. Them. Yeah, for sure.
Which feels, I think, could split the crowd which way they want to go. But I think early on, as a nitpick, I didn't particularly like kind of the infighting between the Bucks and the Bucks and reDRagon. But as soon as that was over and everything broke down, this was just crazy and as you'd expect, just excellent from these guys.
I'm pretty like, again, back in Ring of Honor, the Bucks, reDRagon, and whatever tag teams were there floating around as well, would always do multiple matches. So it felt like that. It felt like your crazy PWG, just like a lot of stuff going on, different stories going on as well. But one of my favorite things of just doing this at a bar was I kind of was sitting near our security guard for the evening last night at the bar. And he's like, oh, I'm a lapsed fan. I haven't watched in a while. As soon as someone explained to him, yeah, his name is Luchasaurus, this guy laughed and then like watched the match. And then by the end of the night, I was like, hey, like, what was your, highlight of the night? He's like, Luchasaurus. The guy didn't even say the dinosaur guy. He knew the guy's name. He was like, that guy. He's like, I have to watch. If there's a dinosaur that wrestles like that, I'll watch every week. He's like, wrestling is supposed to be silly. But when the guy, I'm like, yo, the security guard's preaching. So shout out that, because I think that's pretty funny, because we always go, oh, it's the dinosaur, like how ridiculous. But then you watch these matches, how much fun was that match? Definitely a rewatchable match, I'd say. I could argue that this was probably a lot of people's match of the night.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of contenders on this show.
Yeah.
We go to the Face of the Revolution ladder match. Christian Cage versus Powerhouse Hobbs versus Ricky Starks versus Wardlow versus Keith Lee versus Orange Cassidy. For the last week, they've been kind of going back and forth saying 7 people, 6 people, 7 people, 6 people. But no surprise entrant here, just these 6. And yeah, it's the brass ring, the cock ring ladder match here.
Giant cock ring.
You have all the big lads just throw everyone out to start with. So you've got Powerhouse Hobbs, Wardlow, and Keith Lee in this big stare down. And then Orange Cassidy just walks in and starts doing the lazy kicks to all of them. And then they all go to attack. He ducks. So they go for Keith Lee. And Orange just sort of climbs on all these big guys' backs to try and get the ring off of their back, which I thought was a pretty inventive spot. Then Orange starts climbing the ladder with his hands in his pockets. You get a reverse DDT from Christian to Hobbs off the ladder. And then Christian setting up for the spear. And Keith Lee just appears from behind We've seen this in NXT a bunch.
Where it was
from nowhere.
they did that a lot in NXT, so it was kind of a callback to like him just being memeable, where it's like, you know, like he'll always like rise out of nowhere.
Rising from the swamp, isn't it?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Lee then shows off his like athleticism with a double leapfrog over both guys and the drop down, followed by a crossbody. Now Wardlow and Lee are kind of fighting over the ladder, and they've got it horizontally. So Cassidy jumps, skins the cat, and is stood on top of this ladder as Wardlow and Keith Lee are holding it, and is going for the ring, but they kind of shake the ladder, and he falls and hurts his dick.
Not the dick.
His oranges are crushed here. We then get a delayed vertical suplex from Hobbs to Cassidy off the ladder, which I thought looked awesome here. Now Christian is setting up for the spear, but Hobbs goes to counter it into a spine buster, and I feel like this is the point where Christian said, I agreed to do a ladder match, but no bumps for me anymore. Because he's like, nah, I ain't taking this bump. I'm going to slam you, Hobbs, instead on this ladder. And don't blame him.
Yeah, honestly, like, especially some of these guys in this match are huge.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there was like definitely a lot of people. You're probably thinking, like, are they going to break the ladders? Are they going to be able to? And yeah, I don't blame Christian at all.
I wonder when his last ladder match was. Because it's, I mean, it hasn't been since his return. So we're looking like possibly even like 10 years maybe since his last ladder match.
No, he's got to have been. He must have been in
a Money in the Bank,
in a Money in the Bank, of course. So definitely,
so like 2013, maybe 2012, around there. Yeah, like it's coming up 10 years.
Yeah, true.
Starks then tries to prove that he has the best spear and hits a spear off the ropes to Christian. Then we get a huge Braden Beal from Keith Lee to Orange Cassidy. And
oh man,
he just misses everyone and just lands on the ramp. This was nuts.
Oh, poor Orange Cassidy. His tailbone must be, or his back. Yeah. Keith Lee not knowing his own strength here. The guys were in position, but they barely caught him. He just went flying. Yeah.
From the ring to the ramp. Crazy. This was nuts.
I don't know how Orange Cassidy continued after this spot. This looks like it hurt so much. You can see the guys like being like, holy shit, we didn't know he was going to throw him that far. You know, Keith Lee probably went, oh, fuck, I didn't mean to do that. But it looked great. So, hey, Orange, as long as you're okay, you continued the match. But like, wow. Yeah. Chris Elliott in the chat says, shout out Ian Beale.
Yeah, shout out Ian Beale. Wardlow then clotheslines Lee out of the ring, and then Hobbs goes to put Lee through a table, but Wardlow comes out of nowhere and just shoves them both off the stage, so they go crashing down below. They are out of it. Ricky Starks starts to climb the ladder when Danhausen appears from out of nowhere and curses Ricky Starks, and I don't get this character, but I don't know how it was where you were. The bar lost their mind where I was when Danhausen came out. He cursed him.
There was a few people that got it, but to be honest, it actually, all the air was just sucked out.
Because that's how I felt.
Yeah.
Like, I'm with that. I hate this spot. But yeah, the guys where I were seemed to really
everyone was like
this.
Going, yeah, there's tables and big meaty men slapping around, and you could hear people doing it. And then that happened, and a lot of people were like, is that wait, what? And then even like me, I'm like, okay, I get Danhausen, I know who he is, but what's he's friends with Orange Cassidy, so he's stopping. Okay, all right. I was a little like, you're not in, like, there's already a lot of people in this match.
Yeah,
I just, if you're not in the match, like,
fuck off.
Get out of here. And I like Danhausen. I like the cursing thing. It is funny and silly, but maybe just wasn't properly executed here. Because it kind of just it just got like,
it's when you've seen all these crazy spots, and then it's just Ricky Starks could win it and he falls off because this guy curses him.
A guy pointed at me. Oh my god! I better stop climbing. Ricky Stark looked like a geek for sure in the spot.
So the ladder is set up where you've got like the ladder right in the middle, and then another ladder horizontally across the ladder and the ropes. And Christian starts to climb, but Wardlow pulls him off and hits the power bomb. And then he notices that Starks is climbing again, and Wardlow just leaps up about 4 or 5 rungs here, gets Starks and powerbombs him on his neck on this ladder. I mean, Starks, who's just come back from like a serious neck injury, taking this bump, it looked really scary. He's tweeted out that he's all right. But yeah, at the end here, he like wasn't moving for a little bit. It was quite scary. And Wardlow climbs and wins. He is the face of the Revolution and will challenge either Sammy Guevara or Scorpio Sky in a few weeks.
Yeah. Wow. This is war.
He
won it. I kind of was down for this as soon as he mentioned it on Dynamite. Like when MJF basically was like, you can go for that title. You can do it if you win. And now Wardlow was like, all right. And then wins it. I if it wasn't Keith Lee, which they wrote off Keith Lee properly with him taking the big bump with Hobbs. So they can go into a feud here, which sounds great. 2 big dudes fighting. But Wardlow, I think it was the right choice for him to go forward, and I think he should win the TNT title, or MJF costs him the title, which we could see as well. But yeah,
I like this a lot. I think Wardlow's got a lot of steam at the moment, and it really makes sense for his story. And I like.
Would it be funnier and way more heat if MJF on Wednesday goes, actually, since you
worked for
me, that you worked for me. So actually, I'm gonna take that opportunity and face Sammy in the follow at the St. Patrick's Day and win the title.
Could be, yeah, maybe it depends. Yeah. When are we going to see this Wardlow is all elite graphic come out?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what he needs. Maybe Punk is like, I'll buy you. I bought out your contract. I bought AFI and I bought your contract.
I can afford this. Yeah, exactly.
I do think, I think they've done a bad job with Keith Lee since coming in, and I question if it made sense actually putting him in this match if he wasn't going to win. I think his debut was a few weeks ago, and he really hasn't done anything yet. And I don't think he looks as good as he was in NXT. And I don't know if that... I know he had some health issues and maybe long COVID or something. But I thought this against the match against JD Drake on Friday, where he looked quite gassed. And there were some of those spots that we used to see him do with Dijak, just lifting up these big guys that he used to do with ease, where he was struggling quite a bit with JD Drake. And here he was really... He did a couple of spots and lied out for a lot of it. So... I don't know if there's maybe some issues still there, but I do think they've kind of dropped the ball a bit with this guy, and I question if it would made sense actually putting him in this if you're not pulling the trigger.
Yeah, like that's the argument is like, oh well, they brought in the new guy for this match, so clearly he's got to win it. So it's kind of at least going against that, like just because the new guy's in it doesn't mean he wins it. But I mean, does it hurt him? That's why they did the spot where he got taken out with Hobbs, to kind of set that up and go in the feud. So I imagine he beats Hobbs and so forth. But I think I don't have an issue when bringing people in. You don't just need to like instantly make them like beat everybody or become like, they do a good job of sprinkling people in. Like Danielson just started wrestling in September. He's been here. It's now March. He's been here for a while. He's won matches. He's lost matches. Like it kind of goes either way, where I feel like when it's time for someone they want to actually focus on, a Keith Lee or Miro, like people were so worried about Miro. It's like, no, they're just holding off to use that, like to give him a push. So eventually, like, hopefully there is no serious health issues with Keith Lee, because I do want to see him go forward. But I know what you mean. Like the guy comes in, has one match to enter this match, has one match on the Rampage, gets interrupted a bunch, and then loses his match. It's like
I almost wonder if you want him to be on this thing, have him, instead of the hook match, have him have a singles match in the buy-in and just destroy someone and have him out there and still have a bit of momentum. Whereas I think, I don't know, it feels, if you've been watching this guy, you see him, his NXT run started off quite slowly, and then they eventually went with him and those Dijak matches picked up. And then you see him on the main roster, like not really go anywhere, and already within weeks. And I do think they mix in some guys pretty well, but then there's guys like Jay Lethal and even Christian. He had a title main event just in September, and he hasn't wrestled since November or whatever since this match. So I don't know. Like, you can always rehab someone pretty quick, but I can't say they've done a great job with him so far.
Yeah, I like the match. It didn't have anything that was insanely crazy, like over the top, like a spot that kind of maybe stuck out. But I still thought it was a good match.
I really enjoyed Orange in this match. The skin the cat spot was good. It's not going to be for everyone, but I did quite enjoy him in this.
Oh, you know what? I am mistaken. The Orange Cassidy spot where he climbs the ladder, right? Is that the spot you're talking about?
Yeah,
that was
skin
impressive.
The cat, I thought was really cool, and I've not really seen that before.
Again, like you can't just do that gimmick without knowing what you're doing.
No.
And like he is impressive. Yeah, when he the strength you had to have to do that was very impressive. Yeah, that was the spot of the match. If he were to be in like the Royal Rumble, like that's got to be like it's almost like the Kofi spot.
Yeah,
Orange Cassidy spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Tony Schiavone comes out waving around a contract that says Swerve on it and announces the big surprise new signing, Swerve.
Yeah.
I tweeted out yesterday, like, there's something about Tony's and just that picture of Tony Khan holding the leaked Full Gear card.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we all knew, right? Like,
yeah.
it was kind of not announced, but leaked this week or last week, 2 weeks ago, that he was going to make way to AEW. And I mean, and here's another person we watched a lot of in NXT, covering NXT on Up Next. And we wanted to see this guy go here. We saw a lot of potential with this guy for being such a big star when he was in the indies and everywhere, Lucha and all that stuff. He was good as well. But then coming to NXT, he was in that weird Swerve's house thing. He even then went on to make fun of it in his Hit Row era. And here he is doing whose house is it?
Yeah.
Whose house is it? I was like, that's pretty weird, but I think he's awesome. And I think he could be a big player here as well, but excited to see where he goes.
Yeah. I'm a massive fan of him. And I think good to get him in that kind of TNT title mix pretty quick. I think he's,
there's definitely
he could
so
be
many
the guy
matches
in any company. Like he's so talented.
We got to get him versus Max Caster, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
He's probably like, fuck.
A wrap off.
Yeah, we need a wrap off on AEW.
We go to our TBS Championship match. Ty Conti versus Jade. Ty with her Malachi Black war paint on her face here.
Yeah, did she get misted in the face too?
It looked like it, yeah. And then Jade coming out as Jade from Mortal Kombat with Kingfish Ingram playing her theme on the electric guitar. I thought this entrance was pretty cool.
Yo, this was so sick. Jade, first of all, like in the Jade, outfit from Mortal Kombat, just crazy. Just looked like, again, she always looks like a superstar, like an action figure, like a superhero. She looks like the Jade character. Like she's just so jacked. And then Kingfish on the guitar here was just like, wait, what? Because the Jade theme is pretty lit. Like it's the guitar cool, solo is pretty cool. But now seeing someone just play it and then seeing it's this guy who's like a pretty famous guitar player, like, yo, that's amazing. I was like, what? This is super cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I
love this entrance.
Felt like a real star here, I thought.
Jade, that's the thing. Jade always looks the part and I think can talk the part, but it still comes down to some of the wrestling. But yeah.
Well, they both start slapping each other right away. Jade goes for the Jaded, but this gets rolled through into an armbar from Conti. Jade then just starts mocking Conti's karate shit by kind of doing the pose from like Cobra Kai, Karate Kid pose, the crane kick,
the drunken cow.
We get 3 pump kicks in the corner from Ty, followed by a swinging DDT for a 2. And then Ty does her boyfriend Sammy Guevara's like, I'm crazy, I'm loco pose before hitting a somersault senton on Mark Sterling on the outside. Then as Jade is running the ropes, Anna Jay uses a steel chair and smashes her from behind. But Jade still kicks out. Ty then calls her a bitch and hits her Ty DT, the Hammerlock DDT, spiking Jade for a great near fall here, but only a 2. And then Jade hits the Eye of the Storm. It's like her version of the Tour of the Islands. And then hits a frog splash. But Ty comes back with a sit-out pile driver. Climbs up to the top rope. But Jade catches her and plants her with Jaded and picks up the win. This, exceeded my expectations. I was not really looking forward to this one. And I thought they both went out there. And certainly, I think Jade's best match. And perhaps up there for Ty's as well. I was quite impressed with this.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like I said, for me, the issue with Jade is they're presenting her like she's Goldberg, like with this streak and undefeated, just beating everybody. She's the champ. And I'm like, yeah, but sometimes the matches go long when maybe it's not really connecting. Whereas here, finally, I did think it didn't get that much time, but for like a pay-per-view, it still got, I think it went under 10 minutes.
It was about 7, sure, but, I think. And I think it was,
yeah, but it had it had perfect amount of stuff, and it did make her look good, but I think it made Ty still made her look good as well for putting up like a pretty valiant effort. But yeah, I would agree with you. It's kind of on probably one of the best, or if not the best, Jade match thus far.
It's showing improvement though as well. Like hopefully,
for sure.
I imagine this streak is going to go on for quite a while.
She's gonna get good. She's gonna get so good, and with the way she looks, with the star. Like, she could be a really big star for AEW.
I think she has a disadvantage because I feel like all of her matches have picture-in-picture, which makes them feel long. And also when I'm watching it on Fight, you see the picture-in-picture, and it's a lot of just like plodding in the commercial break. And I think here, just giving her 7 minutes with a lot of stuff, I didn't feel she was doing the walking around, which we've kind of complained about. Like she has some cool moves, but it's like connecting the stuff together. And I felt that that was less in this, and that's why it worked for me. But yeah. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
We go to our next match, the dog collar match. Cult of Personality hits, and then before it really gets going, it goes into MJF's theme. And the crowd are mad. Boo! Ooh. Boo! MJF comes to the ring wearing this ugly, crushed green velvet Burberry robe. And then AFI starts to play as the lights go out and we see smoke. And we have CM Punk from, 2003 here? Coming out in his white ball shorts. I believe this is the same gear he wore against Raven in the dog collar match, but awesome moment.
Yeah, amazing entrance here for CM Punk. I mean, the retro trunks, the CM trunks here with the white and the black trim with the XXX on it, and then coming out to different music. Either TK's flexing here for this one time maybe use where they're using AFI. So yeah, he did use this music. The beginning, Miseria Canter. I'm probably butchering it, but yeah, fucking awesome and a great tune. But throwback here. Punk looking like this looks almost therapeutic for him.
Oh yeah.
He's just like loving it.
This entrance was just awesome. They announce him as the Second City Saint as well.
And
I love when they're just strapping them in with this dog collar. Punk just has this sadistic smile on his face because he knows he's going to get his hands on MJF. And Punk
no, it's like this definitely, like the news about Ring of Honor and AEW, like it's cool. They own the tape library and stuff like that. Like, again, the argument is like, well, it's just like going back to the history, which was just like independent wrestling. It wasn't like on a main kind of stage, but a lot of people that follow CM Punk, like he did become kind of as Excalibur, I think, y'all commentary, like Punk is a household name when it comes to pro wrestling, and like a lot of people know him, and the super fans are the ones who did go back and dig into the history that they may not followed at the time. So a lot of people are into CM Punk. He is like a pretty big pop culture kind of guy, like not just mentioning like his UFC stuff, but think back of like in pop culture and TV, like he has been brought up. People do know his name. So like going back to something that is maybe so minuscule, but like it got a reaction, especially when it cuts to people like figuring it out, like what is happening. I think it even cuts to a guy in the crowd who was clearly waiting for this moment because he knew all the lyrics. He's singing it. This guy was ready. He was probably like, Punk is back. Like, what are the chances we get him coming out to AFI again? But yeah,
I think
sweet entrance.
Even if you've never watched any of ROH, you can pretty quickly figure out what's going on here and go back on YouTube or whatever and be like, oh shit, yeah, this is what he did. That's awesome. So Punk starts stringing MJF up in the corner with this chain. He does the 10 punches to the head and then wraps the chain round and goes to punch him again, but Max escapes and hits the cheeky Nando's, followed by a powerbomb, and then MJF just starts whipping Punk. And there's this great close-up of Punk's back where you just see a chain mark right across it. And, well, Punk is bleeding already. He's a bloody mess, just like on Wednesday. And MJF grabs the microphone and says, why don't you tell these people you quit like you quit on me? And Punk just says, eat shit, Max. MJF then goes on the turnbuckle and poses, but Punk just drags him off with the chain, and this microphone just goes flying. I bet the audio guy's just losing his mind here as this mic is destroyed. Now Punk wraps the chain around MJF to hit his classic bulldog, and now is attacking the hand. He goes for the GTS, but MJF slips out and locks in the sleeper with the chain, which we saw MJF put out Punk with the sleeper in their first match. Punk then kicks off the ropes, doing kind of the Bret Hart spot, rolling through for a pin, but MJF kicks out. Punk gets him up for GTS, but this gets counted into the Salt of the Earth armbar, but Punk rolls this through for a pin attempt and then into the Anaconda Vice. Bear in mind, this is both guys are chained up here as well, and they're doing these like seamless counters. It's pretty awesome.
It must be so hard to do these kinds of things because you've trained a certain way to wrestle, and now you gotta like almost make sure you're not hurting yourself and the person you're trusting here. It's pretty scary. You can tell, like obviously kayfabe wise, they go, look, Punk knows what he's doing because he's been in these matches before where he's like specifically wrapping it in certain ways. But like you gotta be really careful, not like actually choking someone or hurting someone, or landing on a chain,
like jolting someone. Like it's different when it's around your wrist, but when it's to your neck, it's so dangerous. MJF goes for the Heat Seeker, but this gets countered into a Spine Buster, and now Punk is wrapping the chain around his knee and just drives it into MJF's face. Now he's bleeding as well. Punk goes for another running knee on the outside this time, but goes crashing right into the ring steps. So now Punk's knee is fucked. MJF goes for a tombstone on the apron, but Punk counters this into a tombstone of his own, but this further damages his knee here. Now Punk goes for the top rope Macho Man elbow drop, but MJF moves and he goes crashing down. And now the sadistic MJF introduces thumbtacks into the match. Punk tries to set up for the Pepsi plunge, but MJF blocks and hits a superplex off the top, almost onto the thumbtacks. But then they're like, right, well, let's take bumps in this anyway. And now MJF is yelling for Wardlow. He needs his diamond ring. Wardlow comes out looking great in his fancy suit. And he's doing like the best man thing at the wedding where he's like, oh no, the ring. Where's the ring? He's checking each pocket. And he like shrugs like, oh, I don't have the ring. So Max turns around, gets hit with the GTS, and he takes the bump right into the thumbtacks.
Yeah.
And rolling around. He's great at doing maybe it's not selling because I'm sure it hurts, but like the shock, like shaking.
Well, it's funny because the move is called Go to Sleep. So he gets hit and he sells it like he's going to sleep. So he falls over. But then when he lands in the tacks, he wakes up.
Yeah.
And now he wakes up and he's like, oh my God, I'm in thumbtacks. Oh, wow. And it was a really good sell. Yeah.
Wardlow and Punk then lock eyes, and Wardlow reaches into his pocket and goes, oops, he's found the ring. And he just places it on the apron, walks off. The crowd are losing their mind. Punk picks up the ring, puts it on, flips off MJF. Max spits at him, and Punk nails him with the ring and picks up the win.
Yeah, I mean, just as violent as we thought it was going to be. They're chained to each other's necks and they're throwing each other around. They're bleeding pretty early in the match. There was thumbtacks, and then the cool reveal with Wardlow being like, "Nah." So it's like it is almost the turn here where Max is obviously going to be pissed at him. But yeah, it kind of had a little bit of mix of everything. It had your violent wrestling, you had your tie into the indie stuff with the ROH stuff, and then it had your almost your WWE storyline of the Wardlow stuff with Max, like all kind of coming together here with everything. I thought it was pretty entertaining from front to back, just everything.
Yeah,
it was solid.
It really felt like an epic war, this one. And with the entrances on top of that, and yeah, the Wardlow stuff they've been building so well for so long. And I like that it did kind of make sense to do it here, because you feel there has been that mutual respect between Punk and Wardlow from when Wardlow almost beat him, and Punk the following week was like, I want to face Wardlow again. That's who I want, because he should have beaten me.
Yeah.
And I really loved their first match, but this one was so different as well. So it's almost hard to compare the two, because they were just so... They weren't really just retreading stuff they'd done before. There were so many different elements to this.
Yeah, that's great. True. Look, I really love this match. I really love their first one as well. That's a tough question to kind of say to which one did you like more, because I really love that TV one as well. I thought that was an epic as well. That means it's 1-1 technically, right? I know they restarted that first match, but there's a rematch down the line. There's a rubber match.
I think so. Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, could you do that with like a title on the line, perhaps down the road? Like do we hold it off for a bit, or do we do the rubber match soon before they next move off to the next feud? Because I mean, MJF can just be with the Wardlow feud. You can go to that now. That's ready, and that could be, as you said, TNT title perhaps, because I do think Wardlow will end this Sammy reign.
Yeah, I was under the impression MJF was going to win this match and then face Hangman at Double or Nothing, which you could still go that route, but I don't know I don't know how MJF would get there now with the whole Wardlow thing still happening. So unless this is still some sort of big tease where Wardlow will still be with MJF, I don't know. I felt like MJF was such a hot character that he could beat Hangman.
Yeah,
for the title.
That's what I thought would be the next champion, would be MJF. Yeah. But yeah, great stuff. I really love that Punk entrance. I bet a lot of people were like, what music is this? I don't understand. But even if you didn't, it looked great, and the dude looked great in that attire again. Yeah. Unfortunately, the next match was in a really rough spot following that, because I think this is when, certainly my end, we're talking about probably around 3:30 in the morning by this point.
Wow.
We were feeling fatigue after that, because that was a bit of a war. And
I think the crowd did too. I think the crowd here in Orlando was like, yo, we're tired now.
And I felt sorry for these two. I think we've criticized this build. Obviously, they had the great match at St. Patrick's Day Slam last year, and there really hasn't been much build for this one. But it's Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker for the AEW Women's Championship, and we see Britt coming out with a new belt, a bigger belt. Looks way better.
Wow,
I thought.
Yeah, it makes the title look a bit more meaningful when they announced the TBS one, and it looks bigger than the women's title. So they finally re-upped it here. But yeah, looking good.
Looks a lot better. Jamie Hayter gets involved quite early on, right away. There's then this, was it Rosa applied this, almost like the Paradise Lock, but in the bottom rope, which looked kind of fun. Then Rosa counters and hits this German suplex, just dumping Britt. A series of clotheslines from them both. Thunder attempts the Fire Thunder Driver, but Britt gets out and just forearms her in the back of the head. There's then a pendulum suplex to Rosa, and Rosa just lands on the back of her neck here. Britt goes to apply the lockjaw, but Thunder is able to counter this with a neck breaker followed by a sliding lariat. Britt goes for the lockjaw again, but Rosa rolls through for a 2 count. And now Thunder's hitting like a backdrop suplex. They're fighting on the top, and Britt hits an air raid crash off the top. Obviously, you've seen this hit on her boyfriend quite a few times back in NXT. Rosa then goes for the tombstone, but this gets rolled through for a tombstone attempt from Britt. But Thunder, like, victory rolls through for a pin attempt here. And then Rosa finally hits the tombstone, but Rebel is on the apron, distracting for the pin. There's more roll-ups back and forth. And then Britt hits her curb stomp on the title belt, but Rosa kicks out. Britt then applies the lockjaw, but Rosa gets the ropes and rolls through and goes for the lockjaw of her own, and then transitions to this chokehold. And Britt is tapping here, but Rebel again is on the apron, distracting. And Rosa hits her with this Big E-like spear. Rebel takes some like big bumps in these Britt matches. This looked terrifying.
Always.
Yeah. Thunder then rolls into the ring, but gets hit with the curb stomp, and Britt Baker retains.
Yeah, I think I was definitely cooled off on this feud, especially build to it. I think it was like almost wrote itself, and they managed to make people less interested in it. Of course, their first encounter was like really violent and kind of considered a classic. Now, I think they were put in a bad spot. Having the crowd just be tired didn't help, because when you watch it and the crowd's maybe not so much into it anymore, it makes you feel the same. But I think everyone was kind of like feeling like a little tired at this point. And I think maybe that had something to do with it, but I didn't necessarily get too into this match. I was a little let down. I just felt like it felt like all the other Britt Baker matches with everything in it, like with Reba and Jamie Hayter, even the finish and the false finishes. It just kind of felt I kind of wanted to see Britt Baker bring the more of the wrestling, and I still didn't quite get to that for me. But I think the Britt character is still over. But in a way, I'm happy that she won, because I didn't felt like it had the heat behind it that a big title change would get over. So I'm happy that she won, but in the way, I think Reba and Jamie should have been kicked out early, or not even been allowed in the match, and let them actually just wrestle.
Yeah. I mean, I felt burnt out here, and I found it a bit hard to focus. I feel this is one I almost want to try and watch in isolation, because I kind of feel it was in a tough spot, and I didn't think it was necessarily bad, but the stuff with Rebel and Jamie got way too much. And as you said, we've seen it so many times. And yeah, I was just a little checked out. Like, this was where I was kind of found myself looking on Twitter at like Punk's entrance again and that kind of thing.
Right.
And was just, pretty tired at this point. I didn't think it was terrible, but really not where it should have been. I also think going from having like a lights out match to then just a wrestling match, it's really hard to, when you've had all the crazy stuff, you've had the thumbtacks, you've had the tables, and now you're just trying to wrestle, it's a little hard. But by the looks of it, it's Thunder Rosa versus Layla Hirsch in like a #1 contenders match, and then the winner faces Britt at St. Patrick's Day Slam, which will be obviously a year anniversary since their match, and it's in Thunder Rosa's hometown. So I expect...
Oh, okay. There you go.
They're holding it off, and that's why they did all the screwy stuff. You're probably going to have Rebel and Jamie banned from ringside, and I think they'll give her the win there, is what I'm imagining.
See, and the crowd behind it will probably make it feel like such a bigger...
Yeah, it'll probably be the main event,
and
it will feel bigger.
Yeah, for sure.
We then go to Jon Moxley versus Bryan Danielson. These two are thinking about being a team, but they want to bleed with each other first before they can do that.
Everyone knows if you want a team together, you got to bleed together. Ain't that right, Davie?
Yeah, we didn't start podcasting until we both bled together, right?
That's right. Everyone knows that. You got to prove your friends. You got to bleed together to be boys with each other. Yeah, this was a match I was super excited to watch. In fact, I watched it back today.
I definitely want to go back and rewatch this one. It starts off very a lot of wrestling, very grapple to start with. They both fall to the outside, and then as they're back in, Danielson's doing all the heelish little things, like keeps on going into the ropes so Mox can't get to him. So Mox just slaps him across the face. Danielson slaps him back. We're then going into these forearm exchanges. Danielson hits his big running drop kicks in the corner that just looked brutal. There's a tope suicida from Danielson, but Moxley catches him, and now they're brawling on the outside. Mox is bleeding. Danielson is bleeding. They're now fighting on the top, and there's a backdrop suplex from Danielson. And now Danielson starts raining down with his elbow strikes to Moxley and applies a great-looking dragon sleeper. And I love they did like the camera angle from above the ring here, and you just got this dragon sleeper applied, and they're both just a bloody mess. I thought visually looked really cool here. And now Mox comes back and is delivering these elbows of his own and applies the bully choke and transitions that into the cross arm breaker, but Danielson counters that into the LeBell lock, but Mox makes, rest in peace, Gene LeBell, right?
No, he's not dead. Gene LeBell, the legend. How do I get Gene LeBell's people on the phone? Like, we got to get Gene on the show because I want to talk to him about how amazing he is and his appearance in Rush Hour.
And how alive he is still.
Yeah, I fucking love Gene LeBell.
Moxley makes it to the ropes, but Bryan comes back with the Busaiku knee for a 2 count. And now it's time to kick his fucking head in. Danielson grabs the wrists of Mox, starts stomping down on his head, and then applies the triangle sleeper and flexes, does his bicep flex.
Yeah.
And then starts punching him, like, he's just punching him in the nose here as he's applying this. But Mox does the kind of jackknife flip over and catches Bryan with the pin.
Yeah, kind of a shocker victory. It kind of comes out of nowhere. I love how he was near the ropes and then he realizes, so he like kicks away from it, lands, and then the ref is like, all right, well, he's not on the ropes now.
Yeah.
And then counts it. And then Danielson gets out of it while like he's kind of still on top of Moxley, and he's looking at the ref like, what do you mean that's it? And then like moves Mox away. Like, what do you mean that's it? He's like, that's it. He beat you. And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? I love this match. This was exactly what I wanted. You wanted to see them bleed. You knew they did this spot on the outside where they think they headbutt each other, and then they both fall down. Camera cuts away, and oh, look, they're bleeding. So it's like these guys just wanted to, they were bleeding for this match, but it was awesome. They were killing each other with the strikes. I love the like physicality of it where they're kicking each other at the one point. It's like they're like two almost like brothers here fighting, like kicking each other, going at each other, like just literally giving everything. And yeah, those nose strikes were nasty, but how awesome was the bully choke? Because Danielson's got the LeBell lock, so then Mox uses the bully choke, and he's selling it so good, but then Danielson turns into that regal plex and crushes Moxley here. And Moxley just powers up like he's Ishii. Yeah. He's just like, but then runs right into that knee from Danielson. It was just such a great sequence. This was my match of the night. I just thought it had everything. It had intensity. It had a story. And literally, I just wanted to see the violence. Yeah. And I got that from, there's a good combo of these guys are actually good technical wrestlers, but the violence definitely delivered here for me. I love this. In fact, I've already watched it twice.
The finish definitely protects Bryan as well, rather than it's not like he's being hit by the paradigm shift and pin 1, 2, 3. He's being out wrestled, which kind of works with this story, with this this brawler against this wrestler. And
for sure,
Danielson, who just seems like, such a nice guy. Like when you think back to his like huge babyface run, is so sadistic as a wrestler these days. It's so good to watch. I definitely want to go back and watch this one. I felt when this started, I was like, I'm trying to get myself back into it, because I definitely, and I felt the crowd were kind of like that. And as the match went on, they're like, oh, we're watching Danielson Moxley now, and kind of woke up. Yeah. But it's definitely hard on these long shows, and you do have to kind of psych yourself back up. But it definitely got me by the end, and I definitely want to watch this one again.
Yeah, the crowd were quiet for the beginning of it, and then finally they were like, okay, no, we got to get like back into it. But yeah, this hit for me. And then what happened after?
The post-match. So Bryan is pissed and starts kicking Mox. Mox starts fighting back. They're brawling. And then William Regal storms out in his
War Games,
in the suit he always wears, the maroon shirt, the kind of dark grey suit. Looks great. The bar, this was the biggest reaction of the night at the place I was. The bar lost their mind for William Regal here. How was it when you were?
Bro, the bar lost their absolute mind. Biggest pop of the night. And the funniest thing was, there was like, I don't know if it was a bartender or maybe just a friend of our security. This guy, the whole night, you could hear him being like, yeah, I don't know much about wrestling. I don't really know anything. Like, oh, Jericho, okay, I know him. Like, oh, Punk, okay, maybe I've heard of him. Yeah. Bar goes wild, and the guy who doesn't know anything goes, yo, bro, is that William Regal? I'm like, yo, wait, you don't know anybody about wrestling, but you know who this guy is? I'm like, what? That's wild. Yeah, the bar absolutely lost their mind. But I love this sequence here.
Yeah, what I love is like Regal has just gone from being, the head teacher at NXT, where he's always pulling apart these kids. And now he's storming into AEW and he's still like, why is everyone just fighting all the time? And he pulls these two guys apart. He slaps, I think it's Bryan first, isn't it?
No, he gets in the middle of them and he shoves Moxley away from Danielson and then slaps him. And then Danielson's laughing like, ha ha, yeah, come here. That's almost right. Like to hug Regal. And then Regal slaps him too. And it's like, both of you fucking idiots, get it together. What are you fucking doing? And like Regal's now got he's got like the blood on him now. Yeah. Like their blood's on Regal now. And he's just like, shake hands. We got to do it together. And then like he's standing in the shot of him in between them is amazing. They finally shake hands. And it's like, wait, are we getting a William Regal, Danielson, Mox stable here? What does this all mean? So. We got the tease of it, how it started, but like, yeah, like give the people what they want, and this is what
it makes
we want.
So much sense because both are connected to Regal as well. I mean, Mox does the Regal knee, he does the Regal plex. Obviously, Bryan Danielson has always looked up to Regal, and there's such a connection there. Like even down to his ring gear, like he wears it as a tribute to Regal. This makes so much sense, and I thought this did a great job of really, it was like an adrenaline spike for this crowd. It really woke everyone up after that match and kind of reinvigorated them for the final two matches, I thought.
Yeah, it just shows like they're really good at using a lot of these old stars. Like a guy just came out and said, hey, stop fighting, and everyone lost their mind. It's just like people wanted to see these two fight. They wanted to see them almost join forces. And what better way than kind of bring in this introduction here with Regal. I'm excited to see them be a tag team. They could go for the tag titles or like actually start this team, this unit with like all these other people that they can bring in. Like you're with who did they mention? Daniel Garcia, Lee Moriarty, the people that
Yuta,
Danielson, the guys that Danielson beat up essentially, but there's so much room for where we can go with this stable. But yeah, I mean,
what we call the Regal. We need the Regal something. We need for these Regal guys.
Well, we already have the four pillars. So what about like the four killers where they get like Garcia, Moriarty? I don't know. Like there's something about violence, but I know they're calling Kyle O'Reilly the violent artist. So I don't know where just violence is what you need to call this group. Just violence, just literally vengeance, violence. I don't know. Just something. But the Dragon Dojo, I don't know, something like that, but just cool. It's like Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
It's like the Cobra Kai. No, what Eagle Fang meets Miyagi-Do, and then they join forces to be like Eagle Fang Miyagi-Do or something. I don't know, but yeah, this was the highlight. I got my wrestling fix from this match specifically. It's like Moxley is someone I definitely loved since AEW, and Danielson is just, again, a repeated broken record every time I talk about him also, on a completely another level.
This has got to be William Regal's biggest pop of his career, right? Because he got good pops in NXT, but that was always in Full Sail or the CWC, and I can't think of. And he was mainly a heel on the main roster for most of the time, so I don't think he's ever really got a reaction like this.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
it's kind of cool for him, I think.
Yeah, true.
Well, let's move on. It's the 6-man tornado tag match. It's the Andrade Hardy family office of Andrade El Idolo, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy versus the team of Sting, Darby Allin, and Sammy Guevara. This is kind of crazy, actually. This was the one everyone, myself included, was going, why the fuck is this match on this card? But
yeah,
it definitely served its purpose, I think.
Everyone needed the break, but then while you came back from your smoke break, your washroom break, your beer, whatever, you were now watching this match, and then you were like, oh, okay, this is pretty wild. So it did an okay job. However, like the triple threat on Rampage for the TNT title was awesome. Really was so cool. It could have been on the pay-per-view, but this was kind of like a nice breather, but still served its purpose and did some pretty cool stuff. But yeah, we'll talk about probably the second biggest pop behind William Regal comes from this match as well.
Yeah. So Darby immediately hits his like crazy tope to the outside. There's a trash can placed on Jacked Jose's head, and he gets hit by another tope from Darby, just crashing into this trash can. We then get the gourd buster from Andrade to Sammy on top of a guardrail. Sammy hits his springboard cutter to Cassidy, but then gets hit by a twist of fate from Matt Hardy. And now the Butcher and the Blade come out to help the family office. They're getting involved, and Sammy and Isaiah Cassidy are now like fighting on top of the elevated stage, like on the entranceway.
Yeah.
And there's a Spanish fly off this from Sammy through 2 tables that don't break. This was nuts.
Insane. Off this thing. And like the table breaks, but they hit hard. So I'm sure Isaiah Cassidy was feeling this.
You see them just both lying pretty still, and Sammy with his arm around him being like, you okay? We good? You okay?
Yeah. He did the I'm loco thing before he did it. Is that what, like how Ty Conti used to go, are you crazy?
Are you crazy?
In NXT? So yeah, it's kind of like that. I mean, this spot was crazy.
This was nuts.
A Spanish fly is a backflipping moonsault slam thing off this through a table, like just nuts.
So Butcher and the Blade are now setting up tables under this balcony, and well, they're all fighting, and Sting dives off this balcony on top of Andrade through these tables, and then in the ring, I think Darby hits the this is what, 62-year-old Sting taking balcony dives.
Sorry, this
tables.
Is fucking nuts, dude. This is fucking nuts. I'll never, like we always joke about Sting, and then he came into AEW and we were joking about it for a while, and then he came in here and he served his purpose being here. He's like they're using this legend great, and he's had a few matches here or there. And we went to Grand Slam, and me and you after the show, you were like, yo, that wasn't Sting. That was someone just as Sting, because that guy was insane. That was amazing. I felt the same way watching this. As soon as Sting took this dive, again, the bar I was at lost their absolute mind. And afterwards, we were doing, like I mentioned, a raffle. And I just was like, by the way, quickly, that man is turning 63 real soon. Like, that guy is 62 years old. And the bar is like erupted. Like, what? What do you mean he's 62 doing shit like that? This guy dived off where the crowd was onto someone who's on tables. Like, again, kind of not safe. He's jumping off part of this venue. Man,
this guy takes one buckle bomb from Seth Rollins, and they're like, better not wrestle anymore. And now he's like, fuck it, I'm jumping off balconies.
It's like he decided, hey, I'm 62. I better start getting good at wrestling now. No, I'm joking. But like what the fuck? He's amazing.
Honestly, though, has he had a bad match in AEW? I can't think of one.
All the respect to Sting.
Yeah.
Pour one out for not even just real. That was amazing. Yeah, the bar absolutely lost their mind for that. I can't believe Sting did this spot. Like, he did some crazy stuff in TNA. And this was like, dude, why you're the one doing the spot? Look who's in this match. Of course, Sammy did the crazy bump, but Sting just jumping off this through tables was amazing. Darby, the finish here was Darby hits Sting in TNA. There's a famous finish where Sting goes to hit Bobby Roode with the reverse, the death drop onto a chair. Right? But the spot is that Sting actually fucks up and hits his own head on the chair and knocks himself out, which like looks like it sucks. So Darby actually does that spot, but actually hits the move on Matt Hardy here and then goes for the coffin drop, but Matt Hardy rolls out of the way, but it's the finish anyways. I don't know what was going on through Matt Hardy's head, but he
completely missed the
part of the chair. Drop. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. but Sting, sorry, but Darby gets the win anyways. But yeah, the highlight is Sammy doing that crazy thing and then Sting fucking 62-year-old Sting. Just imagine that. Think of someone you know who's like 60 plus doing this. Yeah. You crazy? Your dad, your uncle, your grandpa, like what the fuck? Crazy.
I like after this match, I was like, you know what? I trust Tony Khan because we're all going, why is this match on the show? And I agree. I love that triple threat match, but I feel like you might have been burnt out after the triple threat match. I think just having some like absolutely mindless match here that you really, there's no real kind of psychology to it or anything, but you don't need it. It was just the perfect palate cleanser before the main event. Just a 10-minute piece of fun. It's like when whenever I watch like a serious like movie or especially a horror movie, I've got to throw on something stupid like an episode of Family Guy or something like that I've seen 100 times after. This was the equivalent of that for me. It's just like, all right, let's wind down a little and just watch this old man jump off a balcony.
Wind down. I mean, yeah, he's 62 jumping off the balcony thing through tables, which is crazy. I mean, Sting teams with Darby, and I'm imagining Sting's like, look, Darby, here's how to apply face paint that won't rub off and teaches him stuff. And in return, Darby's like, yo, Sting, I'm going to teach you how to fucking be reckless and do these crazy dives. Darby might be, someone in the chat says Darby's a bad influence on Sting. I think Darby's a good influence on Sting. This was incredible. Again, shout out Sting, man. Yeah. I can't believe he did this spot.
Well, let's go to the main event of the evening. It's for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. Adam Cole challenging Hangman Adam Page. It's the Adams going at it. What did you think of Adam Cole's entrance gear here?
I quickly darted to have a quick smoke right during the entrances of this match. What did I miss?
It looked like he'd kind of made. It looked like he made a costume out of like cardboard boxes and like painted it green. It was like this kind of robot army, like shoulder pad gear.
I'm watching it right now. I already know what you're talking. He's probably trying to be Master Chief from Halo.
Yeah, it looked kind of weird. It definitely looked like school papier-mâché costume project thing that
it's like Master Chief
made over the weekend.
It's Master Chief Halo Spartan gear. Okay, I see what you, because I'm pretty sure Halo even like gifted him something recently, but yeah, I don't think it looks as goofy, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
And Hangman came out wearing colorful tassels. He looked very, very colorful.
His gear was pretty on point. I thought it had this like cool like reflective thing with the colors. It was cool, like like Okada, like his has that like light reflective stuff. It's like it wasn't quite that level, but it was pretty colorful.
The crowd were really getting into the fact that this is two Adams. There were "Let's go Adam," "Adam sucks" chants going on. Page goes for a powerbomb to Cole through the table, but Cole manages to escape. Goes for the lariat on the outside, but Cole ducks, and he just smashes the ring post with his arm here. Page then pops up to, Page like pops up Cole for like a pop-up powerbomb or something, but Cole comes down and hits the backstabber, but more like to the back of the neck. This looked pretty brutal here.
Crazy.
And then Page hits the pop-up apron bomb, taking out Cole, followed up by the Urihara moonsault and the Deadeye for a 2 count. Page catches Cole with a tombstone. Everyone just busting out the tombstones on this show tonight. And then you've got the like Bandito style avalanche fall away slam moonsault from Paige, and this is where reDRagon come out to help their boy. There's a Panama Sunrise on the floor from Adam Cole, and then goes for the Panama Sunrise in the ring, but gets caught in a Deadeye attempt, which Cole slips out of, and as the ref is kind of distracted by reDRagon, Cole hits a low blow, hits the Sunrise in the ring, followed by the boom, but Paige kicks out. Paige then sets up for the buckshot lariat, but eats a super kick, and then another super kick, and then Cole goes for the boom again, but Hangman just collapses. And now they're back, they're fighting on the apron, and Paige hits the Deadeye off the apron through a table, and that's where the Dark Order now come out, and they're helping up Paige, but Paige shoves them off. He wants to do this on his own, and Dark Order and reDRagon start to brawl. There's the buckshot lariat from Paige, but Adam Cole gets his hand on the ropes to break the count. Paige then takes off his belt and ties Cole to the ropes and just hits multiple super kicks to Cole's face. And then Cole hits a super kick of his own and frees himself. Paige then exposes his pulls down the knee pad, exposing the knee, hits the boom to Cole, followed by the buckshot lariat, and Adam Page retains.
Yeah, the Battle of the Atoms. We had to find out what happened. What would happen when two atoms collide, and it happened here. This was awesome. I was pretty burnt out, and I had to basically force myself to get into the mood for this match. I was like, no, this is I think the crowd in Orlando kind of felt the same way. They were like, okay, no, Sting doing that huge thing, fuck. Let's go. It doesn't matter what happens now. Sting just jumped off the balcony. But this match still was awesome. As soon as it started getting going, I was like, yeah, these two are just so good at everything. They they hit all their series of their best moves. I figure Adam Cole, one of his signature moves is Undisputed Era gets involved.
Yeah.
Because they always come and then they get attacked. It's like anytime in his big pay-per-view matches, they never successfully interfere in his matches. It's like it was very rare, but I thought both of them have great chemistry. I have seen them fight before. I have seen them team before through the years, but it was almost surreal. I've watched Adam Cole for the past 3 years wrestle all series of different guys, and then now in AEW, here he is in the main title slot against Hangman. It's almost like, is this actually a storyline or a match that's happening? But I still really enjoyed this match. Top tier stuff from Hangman. I really like the finish, how he set up for the buckshot, because couldn't it come across as a move that kind of looks a little like you have to set the guy up to hit that spot and then you do the flip. But here it's like he hits the boom on him, which levels him to that spot and then hits the buckshot. I thought it clicked really well. But yeah, I knew this match would be pretty good. It banged. It wasn't my favorite match of the night though, but maybe because I was just really tired by the end of it.
Yeah, I thought I thought the match was really good. I thought there were some really fun near falls at the end as well. And definitely I think they did manage to get this audience and pick up the energy a bit. I do think the build wasn't great and did kind of take away from the match a little bit because it didn't feel as heated as I think it could have done. And it was at the end of a really long pay-per-view as well. I almost feel the whole show I would cherry pick. We talk about cherry picking. I would cherry pick the whole show, but I kind of want to watch a match a day almost, because whereas NXT, the old takeovers, you'd have 5 absolute bangers, but it would be 2 hours, 2.5 hours tops, and it would be such a great pace. Here, I feel like you're having 8 to 10 bangers, but you can almost have too much of a good thing, and it's a shame because I think it does. You want to enjoy this match more than you do, and I'd say that with a few of them where I'm just really tired right now, but. That's not to take away the quality of the wrestling is great. It seems a funny thing to complain about too much of a good thing. But yeah, I enjoyed it. There seemed to be like some boos for Paige as well. I don't know if people are kind of maybe not quite buying him as the champion because the way he's been presented, or just Cole is really over, or a little bit of both.
Well,
but there were definitely
Cole's
boos for Paige.
Cole's been running Florida for the past 4 years down in NXT, so it's NXT territory, right? So I mean, but I did notice some boos after the fact. But still, no, I think Cole is the guy he's the bad guy, but people like to cheer. But for the most part, I still think Hangman was pretty over. But yeah, this match still delivered for me 100%. I do want to watch this one back. I just didn't today, but definitely still loved it. What would you say your match of the night was?
I feel I got to go back and rewatch a lot of them, but maybe because it kicked things off, but I'm leaning towards Kingston Jericho. I really did enjoy that match. I really liked Danielson Moxley as well, but a lot of contenders, and I think I definitely like to watch them all again at some point to kind of get a better idea. But really strong pay-per-view top to bottom.
Yeah, I feel like going forward they could. I would say Mox and Danielson was definitely my match the night, and I love the Regal stuff.
Oh, and Punk MJF afterwards as well. I loved.
Punk MJF. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It could be. I think it would be between those two for me: Punk MJF and Mox and Danielson. Just everything hit. These AEW pay-per-views are always bang for your buck. Like you get everything out of it. Like everything hits. Everything feels like a proper show. This one they ended before midnight, which was like, hey, we're getting out of here not at 12:30, but it had a little bit of everything on the show. It had that ladder match. Everything clicked. There's nothing that was bad.
No.
So again, another like top show from them. Like all their big shows hit. So every time they do one of these pay-per-views and they're spread out. I know Double or Nothing's next, but they're definitely on a roll.
Do you still what do you think the direction is for Paige then? Double or Nothing's 3 months away, so he'll probably have at least one defense on a. What do you have? Like, is this around like Fighter Fest and Fight for the Fallen is around this time of year? I think that you might have.
Right.
You might have a defense, and do you still see MJF Paige at the next pay-per-view?
Yeah, you could do Cole versus Hangman again, like on a TV special, or have Hangman face some TV people. But I would keep Hangman defense till the next pay-per-view, which is Double or Nothing. I thought the direction would be MJF. I'm not quite sure where you would go. Another interesting matchup you could do is Mox versus Hangman.
Yeah, I think they'll be doing the tag thing.
That would split the crowd.
I think that's where they possibly were going with before Mox went into rehab, because he seemed to be going the heel route, and then they quickly flipped Bryan. So that's certainly something you could do.
Punk Hangman.
That's what I'm thinking, which would be an interesting dynamic to two baby faces, unless you turn one of them, which I can't see them doing. But with Punk winning the match against MJF, you could do that, and maybe that's a big TV event before you go to the MJF match at Double or Nothing, perhaps. But so many parts that you can go with, and all sound pretty good.
Yeah, there's also Kenny. He could be coming back as well. You could pair the Bucks up with Kenny to face off against Cole and reDRagon. There's a whole story there that could be told.
Oh, Chris Elliott's pointing out in the Twitch room that Punk was making the belt motion after he won the match. So maybe that is the direction. CM Punk.
There we go. So there you go. Punk. Maybe Punk Hangman is another big TV episode where they finally have that happen. But yeah, that is true. But yeah, there's a lot potential different matchups that we could go going forward. But I wouldn't mind them bringing in a trios title and doing that stuff as well, just because they do have a lot of trios. And yeah, I just honestly another solid show. Loved this show. Everything just was super entertaining, and the wrestling and just again, I watched it at a bar, so it was fun to just have other people to watch and get into it, and kind of seeing new fans, like maybe who aren't super into this stuff, kind of getting sucked in back into wrestling. Like, oh, okay, this is not kind of what I'm used to watching. I don't like some of the other stuff, but now there's this alternative here with all sorts of craziness. But yeah, solid show from AEW. They don't miss absolutely at all. Yeah. Guys, thanks for listening to us talk all about AEW Revolution. We do this every week on BDElite. Every Wednesday night, we record it live on Twitch, twitch.tv/upnextpodcast, and we talk about some Dynamite. We'll be talking about Dynamite this week, Sammy Guevara, Scorpio Sky. We'll also talk about some NXT 2.0. It's Roadblock this week. So we'll be going live for that afterwards as well on Twitch and here on the free feed. But there is a lot of other podcasts that we do. Davie, what show did we do this week that you want to let the people know to listen to last week?
Well, last week we did a show called Best Match Ever, where we looked at the greatest matches of Shane McMahon's career. Yes, we did. A lot of 5 stars everything in there in that one. Yeah,
yeah.
That show felt like this show, just top to bottom, banger.
Bangers.
Yeah,
best match ever. We look at either stips or rivalries or a specific wrestler. So we looked at Shane McMahon, who's been recently released. Maybe he'll show up in AEW. But Shane McMahon, all the best matches. Steve Blackman, Kurt Angle, Styles, the Hell in a Cell, everything. We review, rate, and dissect all those. That was super fun. We also did a Les Mis review out there. We did a Rush Hour review. We do so many different reviews out on the Patreon. And then this week, we're also going to be joined by a friend of the show, Dickie Bird, world champ patron, who has picked the
Servant of the People.
Yeah.
So Ukrainian comedy starring the current president of Ukraine in the lead role.
Yeah, a very topical review. The video, the show is free to watch right now, I believe, on YouTube with subtitles and stuff. So go check it out, Servant of the People. So that'll be crazy and fun to talk to Dickie Bird as well. But yeah, so many podcasts out on the Patreon for $5, North American tier. You get access to everything we've done in the back catalog, all the Was Next, all the retro pay-per-view reviews, everything is on there. And if you like free stuff, well, on this free feed, you can check out our Justice League review, 2017 version, which we talk all about the Batman. All our Batman reviews are out on the free feed. And a lot of people are messaging us like, yo, I need the Batman review. So that will come in about a month or so after we can go. I'm going to go watch it tomorroh. So I'm super excited.
I saw it the other day.
Watch.
So
all right.
We can maybe talk briefly about it tomorrow on Up Next.
Yeah, maybe on Up Next, we'll definitely dive into it a bit. But, and best match ever, since it's best March ever, we have another one. Steiner Brothers.
Yeah. It's Rick Steiner's birthday this week. So we thought we'd celebrate by looking at some of his best tag matches with his brother.
Yeah. That's it. Well, I am myself, Braden Herrington. You can find me on Twitter and I'm on Instagram. I'm at the Brady.
And I'm at Davie Portman.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Up Next Podcast and join us on the Facebook group, Up Next Group on Facebook, because we love sharing funny things and all sorts of stuff. But thank you so much for listening. We will talk to you very, very soon. And shout out everyone who came to the bar. Shout out Post Wrestling. Shout out Up Next. Shout out all you people. You guys are the best. That's it. That's all. Take care. Goodbye. Be safe. And I don't know. What a great show. What a revolution.
Ahoy!
First time in a long time, but it seems like just yesterday when we were side by side. Beast mode, no one's blocking our way. These other guys tried it, but them man ain't got the skills of Braden and Davie, brazen and raging, bringing you the thrills and spills. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady, DVP, the BDElite. Right here in full gear, about to blow up like TNT. Us man are too sweet, Brady, DVP, the BDElite.